And later on, after I did, I started a trend and somebody else went. But I thought about it.
She was Hollywood's golden girl, beloved, beautiful, and magnetic. Yet one cold November night, Natalie Wood vanished beneath the dark waters of Catalina Island, leaving behind a mystery so chilling it has haunted Tinseltown for 4 decades. Screams echoed across the moonlit bay, a wine bottle shattered in fits of rage, and a fraught marriage reached its breaking point on the deck of a luxury yacht. What truly happened on that fateful weekend? New witnesses say they heard desperate pleas for help. New evidence points to bruises unexplained by a simple slip. And now, after decades of silence, the case has cracked wide open, revealing a tale more sinister than any silver screen tragedy. Natalie's rise was the stuff of legend. By age 8, she had captured America's heart as young Susan in Miracle on 34th Street. As a teenager, her Academy-nominated turn in Rebel Without a Cause transformed her from child prodigy into Hollywood royalty. Splendor in the Grass and West Side Story cemented her reputation as an actress of raw emotional honesty. She wasn't just a pretty face. She bared her soul on screen, making audiences feel every pulse of love, longing, and heartbreak. Directors chased her. Co-stars adored her. Yet behind the glamorous premieres and cover-girl smiles lay the weight of stardom, and a fierce personal drive that sometimes put her in the crosshairs of jealousy. Her marriage to Robert Wagner began like a fairy tale. At 18, she married the man she'd idolized since childhood. Their 1957 wedding drew Hollywood's elite and captivated the tabloids. But cracks appeared almost immediately. Wagner's possessiveness, Natalie's soaring fame, whispered rumors of heated rows. By 1962, press outlets reported an amicable split, though insiders knew the parting was anything but smooth. She continued to soar in her career, while he wrestled with imbalance between her star power and his own ambitions. In 1972, after a decade apart and her own first marriage, Natalie and Robert astonished fans by announcing they were remarrying. To the public, it was a testament to enduring love. Behind the scenes, friends whispered their doubts. Natalie, now a devoted mother balancing 2 daughters and select film projects, longed for stability. Wagner, however, seemed determined to reassert control over their life together. He welcomed the role of doting husband and stepfather, but his jealousy smoldered beneath the surface, turning playful banter into sharp tension. Thanksgiving weekend 1981 was meant to be a peaceful escape. Natalie, Robert, co-star Christopher Walken, and Captain Dennis Davern boarded Wagner's yacht Splendor for a holiday off Catalina Island. The group dined ashore at Doug's Harbor Reef, drank heavily, and tried to soak in the festive spirit. Yet beneath the laughter, fault lines formed. Walken and Natalie bonded over discussions of their upcoming film brainstorm, sparking Wagner's ire. He brooded, feeling excluded, and the hull of the yacht bore witness to a moment of raw anger when he smashed a wine bottle in frustration. Back on Splendor, the atmosphere thickened. Captain Davern later recalled Wagner pacing the deck and shouting in fury while Natalie tried to calm him. Around 10:30 p.m., nearby boaters heard raised voices, a man's harsh tone and a woman's soothing attempts to de-escalate. After midnight, independent witnesses distinctly heard a terrified female voice calling, "Help me! I'm drowning!" again and again, until it faded into a haunting silence. Strangely, Wagner refused Davern's urgings to flood the deck lights or launch a search immediately. Hours slipped away before Wagner finally agreed to call the Coast Guard around 3:30 a.m. By then, the icy water had claimed its victim. At dawn, Natalie's nightgown and red down jacket floated face-up on the surface. Her dinghy drifted nearby, untouched, oars inside, engine off, raising the question, why would she row alone into the dark, frigid sea? The Coast Guard recovered her body, and the world was told it was a tragic accident. Yet many who knew Natalie insisted she was terrified of deep water and would never have ventured out unaccompanied at night. The autopsy report deepened the unease. Natalie's blood alcohol content measured 0.14, and traces of motion sickness pills and painkillers suggested her balance and judgment were impaired. More alarming were the bruises on her arms, legs, and head. Some could stem from a fall, but others appeared consistent with a physical struggle. Authorities, however, accepted Wagner and Walken's insistence that she simply disappeared from the deck without warning. The coroner ruled her death an accidental drowning, and the case closed swiftly. Decades later, the narrative unraveled. In 2012, the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office amended Natalie's death certificate to drowning and other undetermined factors, acknowledging the unanswered questions. In 2018, after renewed witness testimonies and unearthed evidence, the LA County Sheriff's Department named Robert Wagner a person of interest. Suddenly, whispers became headlines, and the once settled verdict reopened like a wound. New witnesses emerged from the shadows. A former teenage deckhand recalled the sound of a violent struggle on deck. Sharp thuds, a woman crying out, then suffocating silence. Marilyn Wayne, anchored nearby, vividly remembered 15 minutes of desperate, drowning cries that no one came to answer. Their memories, long buried, painted a far more chilling picture than the official record suggested. Investigators found Wagner's shifting statements troubling. At first, he claimed natal, i.e. went to bed and vanished. Later, he theorized she might have checked the dinghy. He declined a formal interview with detectives, fueling suspicion. If he had nothing to hide, why refuse to clarify the timeline? True crime authors and forensic experts called for a grand jury, arguing that vital hours were lost before any rescue was attempted, and that those hours could have made all the difference. Meanwhile, Natalie's daughters, Natasha Gregson Wagner, 11 at the time of her mother's death, and newborn Courtney, grew up under the weight of speculation. Natasha, raised by Wagner, sees him as a loving, protective father figure. In her 2020 documentary, Natalie Wood, What Remains Behind?, she lovingly paints Wagner as a devoted widower who cared for his stepdaughters. Her film offers rare home movies and tender recollections of her mother. Yet even this tribute wrestles with the shadow of doubt. The sisters live in an impossible tension between love and suspicion. To them, Wagner is both the man who raised them and the one the world accuses of involvement in their mother's final hours. Every new revelation cuts deep. The forgotten witnesses, the unexplained bruises, the delayed search. For ordinary families, such evidence would have triggered charges long ago. But in Hollywood, power and prestige can shield the influential, leaving the powerless to wait for justice that never seems to arrive. Now, more than 40 years later, the tragedy remains unresolved. Was Natalie's death a terrible accident compounded by alcohol and medication? Or did a heated argument on deck escalate into violence and a cover-up? Can the cries of a drowning woman, finally heard after so long, demand the answers justice has withheld? The pieces of this macabre puzzle, shattered wine glass, silent dinghy, bruised body, still refuse to fit neatly. In the end, Natalie Wood's story is not only one of lost life, but of a family caught in the crossfire between adoration and suspicion. Her daughters manage the dual inheritance of a glamorous legacy and a haunting question mark. The public, enthralled by every new testimony, wonders if Robert Wagner will ever face a courtroom or if fame will forever protect him. As the years pass, the urgency of those unanswered cries only grows stronger, urging each of us to ask, can the truth finally surface from these dark waters? What do you believe happened on that yacht? Did Natalie fall victim to fate, or was her life cut short by something far more sinister? The Natalie Wood mystery endures, its darkest secrets waiting to be fully revealed.